And good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023 edition of Things You Might Have Heard. I am your host, Schmiegel, and I will sort of make my way through with my precious, not much voice, but the precious of getting you the news headlines for today, which are actually yesterday. Actually, my name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I am the host for this show as your news side piece since 2021, all the way back to, middle last year. And like Don Lemon, we're both back today, and hopefully we'll both be able to make it through today. I can attest that I'm watching CNN's morning show. I'm one of the 12 people that watches it, and good behavior is happening right now. We'll see how long that lasts in the meantime. But along with Don Lemon, we have 7 other headlines from the past day that you deemed as conversational that we'll run through in just a moment to just give you a heads up. So now you have your coffee chats, your chats on the bus, your chats to people about what's going on. You are pretty much well informed with things that are mainstream and not so mainstream. A lot of not so mainstream on today. If you want to be a part of this, we'll explain how you can. You just follow our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. We'll talk about that after we go through the headlines and after a lot of sniffles and coughs, as it is cold and flu season. Make sure you get your flu shot and your COVID booster. And we'll do all that stuff in about 12 or so minutes from now. So hang out for that, plus the fun stuff that follows. So to be a part of the show, just follow us on our Facebook and Twitter feeds and follow the feeds. We'll explain that. And just make sure you're watching us wherever you can. Follow us on our website. See what we've got going on all day, every day at I'm sorry. This is the Conversation Project.com. Things you might have heard is just one of the things we offer from you. Let's get into the headlines for this morning. Starting off with MSNBC sets Jen Psaki weekly series, should say, says streaming and social shows in the works. Poorly read, but that's the point. We tell you when we do these headlines, we pick 8 of the top 15 for Tuesday through Friday, and they're all shuffled around just as we picked it through the list of things to put them in order to see what we like and what we don't like, kind of move them around. Jen Psaki, say that 3 times fast, is the number one story by leaps and bounds over the past day. Of all the things that's happening, train derailments and winter weather and Don Lemon, everybody's talking about Jen Psaki getting a big gig on TV. MSNBC is moving her to an anchor seat, if you will, for a weekly series, and then she's going to be a permanent part of their big coverage of stuff, of election nights and things like that. Not surprising, as she is a high-profile person coming out of the Biden White House, and she was a pretty well liked person in her role as an analyst beforehand, working for CNN, of course, before she took the job with Biden and then came out to be a free agent, and MSC picked her up. We shall see how these things go. Right now, MSNBC is having some issues by paying some people a whole lot of money and then laying off a whole bunch of other people and bringing in high profile names and paying them a whole lot of money and then laying off other people. We'll see if Jen Psaki is the draw that will even things out, because I'm sure she's making good money, much money to working for old Biden, and how the folks working for her and what her show actually turns into shall be. Let's move on to the next story we have this morning. Don Lemon, yeah, that guy. Don Lemon to return to CNN this morning, Wednesday, and undergo formal training. Today is Wednesday. He has returned. 3 days off, 1 day listed as a vacation that was sort of kind of planned with Abby Cornish, and then 2 days with Sarah Seidner on Monday and Tuesday, covering a pretty big freaking story with the president over in Warsaw, Poland, and a sneaky trip to Ukraine. That sneaky Biden folk. That thing's wrapping up right now. Don Lemon is in the chair doing his thing in studio with Poppy Harlow. Caitlin Collins is still in Poland as they wrap up the actual tour for Mr. Biden. And so far, so good. For the good hour I got a chance to watch it while I was doing my show prep, he was basically playing nice. Did one little sort of silly joke, but it was sort of set up there in the setup and is going well. Now, the rumors of almost mutiny happening and that his female co-hosts just don't like the dude. That's notwithstanding, because trust me, a lot of people that work in these things don't like the folks to work with. If you watch something like the morning show on Apple TV and you think, is this stuff truly drama? Well, there's a lot of drama behind the scenes on a lot of these shows. We saw a bunch of it in ABC with Amy Robach and TJ Holmes. We saw a bunch of it many, many years ago in the Brian Gumbel years, if you will. And of course, the that other guy who had the button that locked people in their offices years ago. But see it play out in real time now, especially in cable news where the ratings aren't good and nobody's really watching it. It's a kind of hard to see. We'll see how well Mr. Lemon can keep up the appearances. The appearance of money always works, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey earned $2.5 million at box office on a budget of just $100,000. So guess what? There will be more really, really bad, terrible movies from really, really beloved things coming into public domain because they're cheap, literally. They earned $12.5 million in 4 days since it was released. Movie was made for about $100,000. So the film editors say, I think they earned their money back plus some. So this means the filmmakers like this guys, Reeves, Frank, Masterfields, and other people are going to start making more stuff. Gruesoming out other things, including right now he's favoring trying to turn a Ninja Turtles thing into a horror movies thing. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the horror movie, may be coming very, very soon. Trailers to come soon, at least. Let's go to Cher, where the singer is feuding with her sons over her son's relationship with 37-year-old boyfriend A.E. Edwards, sources claim. Hard to read that thing. So Cher's at war with her sons over a hot romance with much younger boyfriend Alexander A.E. Edwards. Yeah. So Cher's really, really kind of oldish, and her boyfriend is 37 and kind of pining for her money, and her kids ain't quite having it. This is a fight for her money, not her happiness or love, because Cher says she's happy with this young fella, and her son, such a Chaz, who is also kind of is saying, no, mom, this isn't a great thing. Do you love Cher? Do you love Cher happiness? Do you love Cher being happy and having money? This is one that may mean something to you and maybe not, but it apparently meant a lot to enough people who voted into the range, because this was a pretty hot story, no pun intended, that popped into the range for this morning. Another hot story popping to the range is this one. It took us a while to get to it, because this happened, basically, has been going on for a few weeks. As Black History Month is almost wrapping up. But this headline gives us Snoop Dogg wine display taken down, semicolon, deemed offensive, that's a quote, during Black History Month. According to the report, multiple complaints were sent to Kroger stores regarding the display of Snoop Dogg and his 13 Crimes wine as being offensive during Black History Month. But, some people said, nah, it's just Snoop Dogg standing in the middle of a store selling wine, and it just happens to be Black History Month. Snoop Dogg's wine bottle features a living label that, when activated with an app, displays an augmented reality video about the wine and the story. One of the things about this is that sometimes things go overblown. Do you believe that Snoop Dogg and his whining, pun intended, is going to be an issue for the month or in general? You can comment on this down the line any way you want to. Speaking of drinks that are getting a little weird right now, Starbucks new drinks have a spoonful of olive oil in every cup. Ironically, coincidentally, I was watching an interview on CNN. Poppy Harlow was talking to Howard Schultz right over my shoulder, and they're about to do a segment. They split in the segments about the new drinks that they're having at Starbucks. They went to Italy. They're adding a spoonful of olive oil to every cup of these new drinks: a hot coffee beverage, a cold frappuccino beverage, and this is basically one last thing that Howard Schultz is going to do on his way out the door, as he's fighting unions and fighting crime as the president and all these other things. So we're going to see how your love for Starbucks coffee and your love for olive oil will come together. This is essentially a similar thing to, the whole butter in your coffee, which oil in coffee seems kind of weird. In fact, you can see the slick of oil on top of your coffee when you make some of these drinks. We'll let you decide for yourself whether these drinks are good enough, and good enough for you. But in the meantime, they exist. We'll see how long they go. The Olito drinks, because Olito is Italian for oil or something. I don't know. I'm probably going to skip on those, to be honest. Let's move to the next story, which is this one right here. Fans rage at Karl Malone's All-Star Game appearance after finding out he got a 12-year-old girl pregnant. So, what's this all about? Well, back in college, Karl Malone got a 12-year-old girl pregnant. You have to ignore that. It's across the room. Yes, this it's not that's not for effect. That's just yeah. And what really was the deal was there were so many sort of jokes and so many sort of things popping up that were going over people's heads until people kind of realized this thing. People hated Carmelo for a lot of reasons, calling him a dirty player, calling him just a kind of a bad guy, calling him just a dude that just you couldn't really get along with. But in reality, this is something that happened. It is one of those hush hush things that happened, way back in the 90s, back in actually the 80s, should say, back when he played in college, back when he was younger. It Nothing ever came about of it. The parents and the girl who carried his children, multiple, if you will, basically said she didn't want to ruin his career as he was essentially off to be a star, and things were done. He has never actually did much of acknowledgement of his kids. His son actually went off to be an NFL player at some point, so talent was there and able to take care of himself. But having a father who really sort of took care of them, not really. Having a father who made money, sort of took care of things in the background, sort of really. Your opinion on this, if this is your first time hearing this, then you may need to process this. Read the article and do some research, some actual research, not just memes off of Facebook, because there's a lot of people who don't have love for Karl Malone in general, and there are a lot of people who have to kind of play it up because he's an all-star and they had all-star weekend in Utah. This is something that, because I'm from Louisiana and I actually played went to school at his college and played high school basketball at the school that he in his hometown, know something about the story, and it's always just been sort of a thing, and now it's a thing that more people actually know about. Ironically, because of All Star Weekend in Utah. And finally, it took us a few weeks to actually put the story up, because you couldn't get a story and an article and a headline with a good angle. They're all sort of just making fun of stuff. But here it is: 2,400-year-old, it's 2,400-year-old flush toilet discovered in China. Could be the oldest ever found. The original headlines we had basically had people doing excavation in China, finding this thing and basically just laughing because it's a toilet. This one is more deeper detailed about the archaeological dig and what is happening and the history of this. The flush toilet, something that we sometimes take for granted, made by a guy named Crapper here, literally here in the United States. A 2,400-year-old version of it made back in China could be a technological amazement, or it just could be another find we find of old stuff going on. Read the article, see how it reads to you, and tell me what you think about that one. Let's go to our teaser story for the day. This is a story that we may talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow, if you deem this one worthy of talking about. And that story reads like this. It also looks like this if you're watching this on the video. Very alarming. U.S. airports screenings see a surge in loaded guns. Now, we as Americans tend to like our guns. We tend to need our airports, and we tend to take our loaded guns to airports because we load our guns into our carry-on bags, or we need loaded guns in our carry-on bags, but we've got to take them out when we go on big trips or something like that. There is a large number of people going to airports and leaving their guns in their bags and getting them screened. The good news is they're getting screened, because maybe there'll be more issues if more guns are being flown around the world. The bad news: we Americans like our guns, and we apparently don't know how to take them out of our bags when we're going places because we're Americans. Now, what does this have to do with you? Well, if you think this is a story that we should be talking about, you can make that happen. You just go to our Facebook and Twitter feeds, facebook.com/this is a conversation and twitter.com/th_conversation. And when you go there, what you shall see are feeds, or feeds in the headlines, and headlines in the feeds, should say. The headlines are posted every 50 minutes, and all you have to do to engage in a story is engage in the story. Like it, love it, hate it, share it, be a part of the show. And you tell us what stories to talk about by vetting the stories. The higher engagement score they get from you just talking about it, reading about it, sharing it, the higher chance we get a chance to talk about it. As we say, Tuesday through Friday, we talk about the 8 stories out of the top 15 out of 30. On Monday, we'll do 30 stories, 10 of the top 30 stories of about 90. That's how it works there. So on the top 8 stories, the 8 stories, will this be one of them? Will this be the top story? We shall see tomorrow. Tomorrow, we shall see tomorrow. Today, we'll talk about AppSumo. AppSumo is a website that allows you to find software and tools and learning projects and all sorts of things that can help you with your business and your personal life, productivity in general. And they're extremely discounted. Many of these things are one-time price for lifetime deals because these are companies trying to get ahead of the game with already established things, either trying to launch into a market that's really new. They're trying to disrupt the market by saying, we've got this thing that's just as good that this is as this prime thing, and we're all going to give it to you for a whole lot less because you know you'll love it to get our numbers up. Check it out by going to this is a conversationproject.com/appsumo. This is a conversationproject.com/appsumo. You can sub by our sponsors page and see many of our other main sponsors, and you can help us out by visiting them. This is an affiliate link, so it costs you nothing extra. We get a little bit off their sale for bringing you into the store. So check it out. AppSumo could be the place to be for your next game, your next piece of software. And that should have been expanded. So let's go ahead and do that real quick so you can see it really big. AppSumo looks like this. Yeah, that's how it looks. Now back to me. Back to you, now back to me. This is the conversationproject.com is our website where we do all the stuff behind the scenes where you can check us out. You can get links to all of our projects, links to our other sponsors, links to the partnerships page where you can partner up with us if you think we're doing good stuff. Let me be honest. Let me take a moment. We're running a little early, so let me take a moment here to do a little begging, to be honest. We can use some help. We have some things in the background that are keeping us from getting things done. Yesterday, I could not broadcast because of things in the background that are keeping things from getting done. We need a little extra time to get things done. We need a little help so we can get the time in. And to be honest, some of the upgrades that Meta is doing and in Twitter as well are because they're our source of knowledge and data are kind of scary and slowing down the process. We need a little help. And if you think we're doing things that are good enough for your help because we're good enough for your viewing, stop by our website, check out our partnerships page, and see if there's a way that you can partner with us to help us get things done. Or just go to the sponsors page and buy something, and we'll get that kickback. That'll work out as well. But in the meantime, check out all things about us at this. It's a conversationproject.com. Today, the fun stuff for today, start off with birthdays. February the 2nd, starting off with Rachel Dratt's birthday at 57 years old. Also, Jerry Ryan is 55, and Drew Barrymore is 48 years old. Some other ones that did not make this little slide thing here, but are also pretty gosh darn interesting, include Kyle McLaughlin, who is 64, Jerry Ryan, who is 55, and I did say Jerry Ryan, and Thomas Jane, who is 54 years old. My sheet got away from me, so that was a bad idea. Today is Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday, the first day of Lent. Yesterday was Fat Tuesday or Mardi Gras, where traditionally the day that you basically clear the refrigerator, get out all the drunken debauchery that you can, because starting today, it's all about some church till Easter. It's all about repentance, all about preparing yourself for the Lenten season, which is right now. You can celebrate your Ash Wednesday and get your ashes at many a places, or not get ashes. You can celebrate Lent on your own just because, and give something up for a small amount of time just to see how well you can do in your time of Lent. Or you can celebrate Be Humble Day just today, or Inconvenience Yourself Day, which is kind of like being humble in a way, or Cook a Sweet Potato Day. One of those days is fine. I would not suggest Margarita Day, but if you're going to go that route, it's on the list. So Margarita Day is there as well. And now, your history lesson for the day, your action lesson for the day. In 1959, Lee Petty won the first Daytona 500. We know there's a lot of issues about the recent Daytona 500 because essentially Fox has turned into the debacle with all the commercial breaks, and it's hard to watch, and there's little funny things popping up, and everybody hates Bubba Wallace and stuff like that. But the original run around the track 500 times, it was there for Lee Petty back in 1959. If you're a NASCAR fan or NASCAR curious, there's that. And we're going to wrap up with this one right here. And this is one more thing you might not have heard. A study published in the Journals of Gerontology Series B, Psychological Series, that's a pretty big series, found that couples who drink together report being a lot happier with their partner and their relationship than those who are not drinking together. Meanwhile, the sun is hot and water is wet. For the study, researchers surveyed 4,864 married people with the average relationship being 33 years. Participants were asked how often they drink in a week and how much they drink each time they pop a bottle. Researchers found that couples over the age of 50 reported better marriages if both partners drank alcohol. Water is wet. The sky is blue. If one partner drank and the other didn't, they were more likely to report feeling unsatisfied in their marriage. If neither drank, a similar positive response was given. That's interesting. Analysis of the data showed that the quantity the couples drank didn't matter or how often per week. What really mattered was that they were going to drink, they did it together. So the couple that drinks together, not gets drunk, drinks together, has more love for each other. Not necessarily stays together either, because they'll stay together regardless. But you have more satisfaction with your partner if you can, have a beer with them, I guess. Meanwhile, I don't have to guess. This is over. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of February, 2022. And this is the wrap up of this edition of Things You Might Have Heard. I am still Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm still getting over a bit of an illness. So apologies for the voice. And it is what it is. And apologies for having the miss today, yesterday. Serious things in the background. We're trying our best to work out some things to give you more consistent stuff in this season. And we're going to do what we can to make sure that happens. Make sure you stay hydrated. Warm coffee is working on the throat. So much. Stay limber and on task for all the grand things you have to do. If you miss a day, just keep getting back up, because that's what it's all about. And also, because of a lot of the news that we've had in this week, wrong button again, a lot of the news we've had this week, we want to send you another reminder that if you're feeling a little down, check out the National Suicide Prevention Hotline or any other suicide prevention lifeline that's nearby you, any group you can find. You can call or text 988 to your cell phone. You can go to 988lifeline.org online. It's open 24/7 in Spanish and English. Someone will talk to you whenever you need someone, or reach out to some local resource if you're feeling kind of low in those things as well. In the meantime, have a great day. It is Ash Wednesday. In all seriousness, it's the beginning of the Lent season. Let me know if you are a person who actually celebrates or observes Lent, if you will. Let me know if you're a person who actually, in your religion, does the Ashes for Ash Wednesday. Let me know how that works for you or how it doesn't work. We can conversate about either way, because some people don't believe in it and they have the reasons. Some people believe in it heavily. Their reasons are valid, of course, as well. Thank you so much. Let's do this again tomorrow.